Okay, so that really captured personality. The one on the right, a girl did of her brother, and I had him in class too, and he just was a super nice guy, and I think that really captures his personality as well. And so they're done in black and white charcoal. The one on the left was done in ebony pencil. We're not doing that, but I just like that the wrinkles on her sweatshirt she had on. The one on the right is just a photo that I found on the internet. I just thought it was pretty cool, pretty exaggerated, so you could maybe have some person exaggerate an emotion and drive something kind of crazy for your photo. Okay? Hands, right there. Hands can express emotions more than just face as well. Okay? I think if this one here, if you took the hands away, if I covered up the hands, I can't tell if he's happy or angry, but when you put the hands in there, he looks angry. The hands really make that personality, doesn't it? And now I also like the fact that it's light on the right side and then dark here on the left, and then his light hand is against the dark shirt and his dark hand's against the white background. Okay? I think that turned out really nice. I just put this in there. Comic book artists, they tend to use unusual angles in all of their pictures. They don't always have people just straight up and down. So, for example, if you take a look at this guy right here, he's having a pleasant thought. Now think about that. I mean, right now, I could be here. I'm having a pleasant thought right now, but my face really isn't showing that, okay? So think about if you're gonna have a pleasant thought, how can your face really exaggerate that expression, okay? And those guys there are exaggerating that expression. And then look at the unique angles that each one has been done at. Okay? In your face, write that down. In your face is kind of breaking the rules of the golden ratio. You got somebody that's staring right at you or right in through you. I love this one. I don't know who this is. Cute little girl with the freckles, and she's staring right at you, and her hair is kind of blurry, but her face is right up in front there. Okay? This was kind of in your face. A girl did this painting. And I think it's similar to that. Big, bold, and she used these unusual colors. Okay? Once again, hands can be part of it. This was done in ebony pencil, but I really liked kind of the mystery or emotion here. The girl that did this in our class, and what she did was she went in a dark room, and we shined a light underneath her. Okay? So the light was coming up on her face. And then she put her hands like that. And then in the photo, you could see the edge of her hair and stuff. She faded that stuff away so it looked like she's kind of emerging from the darkness. And then she did this sort of crystal ball with these strange figures in there. I love this drawing. I really think it's great, really creative, really unique. I think it's a great drawing, okay? Babies are very difficult. Just want to keep that in mind. If you want to do a baby, babies are hard to do. It's just because they get very smooth and their proportions are a little different than adults. I'll probably stay away from that unless you really, 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 really want to do a baby. Okay? Here's some more that kids have done. I love the personality here. This was a self-portrait. And by the way, self-portraits, nothing wrong with doing self-portraits at all. Don't think you're like an egomaniac or you love yourself. You can do a self-portrait. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? But it's hard to take pictures of yourself, right? So what you do is this. If you're going to do a self-portrait, a lot of times I'll get somebody to sit in for me, and I'll say, okay, like my brother or my son or whatever, and I'll say, okay, sit here, and I try a couple things, and I go, oh, I like that. Then I give him the camera and said, pose me like that with the light on my face like that looks. That's one way to do it, okay? Once again, hands in your face again. I like the personality here. Obviously, the kid's crying there. If you wanted like your little brother to cry, I guess you could slap him a couple times and take his picture. He might not cry. He might just be angry. I love these up close. Really cool portraits. And here's some more. Hair. Write that down. Hair can really especially all you girls in here, your hair can really become a kind of a cool part of your portrait. I like these because the hair isn't so properly placed, you know. Although the one on the left, I think it looks like it wasn't properly placed, but it probably was to make this kind of a cool photo. So think about that, how the hair can highlight things. The one on the upper right, all I did was in Photoshop, I just changed the colors to blues because I was thinking, hey, it would be kind of cool to see what she would look like if you do her portrait in all blues, which you can do a monochromatic version if you'd like, okay? This isn't a good photo, but the one on the left I really like. The girl here did use nothing but reds and oranges for hers. The original was better than this photo, though. Once again, hair. I love the way the hair is framing the face and partially obscuring the eye on the girl on the left there. She has a bit of a personality, a bit of an attitude. This one here, a girl found this and she goes, I really like that. So she did this version of herself. And is this plagiarism? No. You can find a photo and you might like the look of it and say, I want to emulate that photo. I want to do something sort of like that. So that was her version of herself, okay, based on that picture that she found there. I think it turned out really nice, okay? Angle from above once again. Now this looks like a painting and it looks fantastic. I don't expect you to do something this high caliber, but I think it's pretty cool. Another unique angle. Okay, once again, unique angles. You can do the whole, and you can use the shadow as part of the composition. So this guy just did this outside, right outside the window here, and it was before we had that building over there, and had some pictures taken of him. I think having her off to the right like this and having that wall there really makes it interesting and unique rather than just having her framed in the picture, okay? Diagonals, write that down. Diagonals are cool. Place the person diagonally in the frame, okay? So you can see she's diagonal. Here's a famous picture of a guy named Salvador Dali, an artist. Diagonal, okay? Here's some diagonals the kids did. Now he's on a real slight diagonal, and she's on a big diagonal. I think these are both really neat, unique portraits. This guy here, this was a soccer player, and he wanted to do a soccer ball, and then all of a sudden he said, I want to do the Earth, the planet Earth there instead of the soccer ball. So he changed that idea. Now, he didn't take a picture and flip a soccer ball up. He just said, I'm going to leave space for that soccer ball to be there. Okay? Interesting characters. Do you know anybody who's got an interesting, unique look to them? You know, your uncle, your dad, your brother, somebody that looks kind of unusual. Interesting. I think these guys have an interesting look about them. They don't look like Hollywood movie stars. They just look like cool people. Okay? Reflective lenses. You could write that down. Reflective lenses is another idea. And these are just prompts to give you ideas. Okay? Or adornments and costumes and props. Obviously, it's a pretty elaborate costume there on the left. But you might say, you know what, I'm going to do my brother, and my brother is a Little League baseball player, so maybe I'll have him wear his baseball hat and he's going to have a baseball bat over his shoulder or something. That would be a costume or a prop. Got that? So think about that. It's another way to picture somebody. I had a kid here one year that was he liked to do motocross. That was his thing. He'd drive a motorcycle, and he had a portrait of himself with his helmet on and his motorcycle jacket and stuff like that. So that was his thing. Creative ways, I don't know what category you'd put this in. Quirky and creative, I guess. Put that down. And you might even put a note looking through something unusual. Isn't this cool? To me, that picture of that girl, she's got a kind of a personality and attitude, but just doing that through the leaf just makes it so much cooler. It just makes it a really cool photo. And maybe your portrait might be all black and white, and that leaf is in color. You know, so you could have one thing that's in color. And if you see something like this, you say, well, I don't want to just do the leaf. Why not? You saw a leaf, you could do your own leaf in a different way. Or instead of a leaf, you could do a ripped piece of paper. Or instead of a ripped piece of paper, you could do, I don't know, something else. Okay? Once again, really cool. He's right up close to that chain link fence. Really gives a powerful personality here and makes you wonder, what is this all about? Is he locked in a cage? Is he behind this fence, can't get out? To me, that looks kind of like there's some kind of peril going on here. Okay? The one on the left I found was a girl playing the violin, obviously. The one on the right, a girl did a picture of her brother playing the saxophone. I really love that picture. I think that's pretty cool. Is it proportional? He looks a little bit exaggerated. His head's kind of small and his hands are getting kind of big, but I think that looks cooler than a regular photo if you took it. So think about if somebody in your family has got something they do, like play the violin or play the saxophone or do something. Your dad's a deer hunter. Maybe you've got a picture of your dad with his deer hunting gear on, okay? Because he looks different that way than he does when he's regular going about his life, okay? What do they do? Maybe you do a portrait that shows this person in their line of work, okay? So maybe your dad's a witch doctor on the bottom right there, okay? That was humor, by the way. I'm going to skip this. Skip this here. This kid did this. This is a portrait of himself. I really like this. These are, one on the right is Bob Marley. Don't do somebody famous like that. One on the left was a girl in my class here. And I love that portrait. The photo I took wasn't very good. I had to convert it from a slide to a photo, and it doesn't look very good, but it was a really kind of cool. She, what was nice is she kind of was a rough-looking character, but she was a real sweetheart. So she was kind of she looked rough, but she wasn't at all, okay? Heavy texture. So these have a lot of heavy texture on them, which is totally fine. You can have a portrait that's very smooth and finished looking, or a portrait that's very textured. I love the one on the left. Okay? This is just a kid. He was trying shadows, and he had a trophy and put the trophy in front of him and made this shadow on his face, which was just kind of experimental. He experimented and came up with a cool idea. These you've seen in the school. These were the first drawings that kids did, and eventually they were made into paintings. And Albert Einstein's right now in storage, but Benjamin Franklin is up in one of the hallways. Here's some kids that were working. We work on brown paper and with a black and white charcoal. The kid was doing a portrait of himself. He did a real nice job, but to me this looks a little too like it's a little boring. It looks a little like a senior picture to me. Here's some other ones kids were working on. Her kid on the left here. One on the right was a mother of a girl. This was a girl took a picture of her dad laughing. I think that's a cool picture. Okay. Girl on the left had her boyfriend there playing the guitar, looking like Walter. What's that guy? Reminds me of the picture from Elf. Okay. And then on the right there, this is another girl took a picture of her friend or whatever, making a funny face. I love these two. Aren't they cool? Look at that one on the left. They had blinds by their window, and it created this shadow across his face with the stripes. I love that one on the left, and I love that one on the right. He was a student in here, and he had the kind of crazy hair, and hair was coming over his face, and this girl took a picture of him like that. Those two are like my favorites. I love those. Those are cool. This girl did a monochromatic portrait in all blues. She took a picture of her friend and sprayed water on her friend's face, so she had these droplets on her face, and she did an outstanding job. Is that not awesome? It is. There's the other one again. Girl that did this, the eyes look a little funky, but you know what she did? She had her little sister. They had a table in their living room that was glass, and she laid underneath the table and then had her sister look down at her. So the hair kind of went all over the table, and she did that portrait of her sister, which I think is way cooler than a photograph of your sister. Okay? I'm not sure why she had red on her eyes there, but I think it looks cool. And here's some other kids working from photos. I love that one. Isn't that cool? Look at the lighting coming across her face like that. You can see that girl starting, and she's had hair that came across her face. You can see it on the photo. She wasn't done yet. I took these in progress. And here's some other ones that students have done of their brothers and friends and things like that. Okay. I got a girl, this is a painting. That was the picture of her friend. This is a buddy of hers. This was a girl that did it from her dad. She never finished it though. And a girl did this of her little sister, that little girl has since graduated from high school and was a student here and was a really good artist herself. And this is an artist named Mark Fredrickson. I just threw this in here. If you'd like to do something creative where the head is bigger than the body, Mark Fredrickson is an illustrator and painter and does these, I call them exploded views, where he takes characters and makes them with these huge faces, really exaggerate. So you could easily do that. You could take a portrait of your friend and then blow his head up bigger than normal in Photoshop and then work from that photo, okay? He did these little editorials on people, or sometimes he would have their head be smaller and their feet come towards you bigger. Now, how would you do that, okay? Well, what you would do, like for example, if you wanted to do Superman here, you might stand above your friend, okay, and kind of look, like you stand on a table and he's below you, take a picture, then his feet kind of get smaller, and then you could put a cape on him and stuff like that. Like for example, that one, you know, he turns into a merman. Here's a picture that I found of a little girl, and I kind of like their hand getting really big with a butterfly on it. And then here's a picture I took of my daughter, who was a senior now. I don't know if you know her, Maria, but she was a little girl at the time, and she played the violin, and I thought, hey, it'd be kind of fun to do something with her violin. So she came in class, and I said, hey, I want to take a picture of your violin, and she had a little bit of an attitude. And so what I did in the Photoshop is I made her head a little bigger. I stood above her, took this photo, and then the thing about a violin, you know, you can hold a violin, and if you hold it sideways, it's hard to even tell what it is. So you got to think about, if you have a prop in there, you have to hold it at a position that you actually tell what the prop is. So we played around with the prop. So I made her hand bigger, her head bigger, and this was going to be my portrait. I never did do it, but now that I see it, I should do it now, because I think it looks pretty cool, okay? That was her when she was a little girl, and it was funny. I showed this in class when she was in class 2 years ago. This is just something funky I did with a kid in Photoshop. I was kind of doing like Mr. Stretchman there. And Mark Fredrickson is the guy in the third guy right there. And I love this portrait of that guy on the left. Isn't that cool? Now you might say it's not realistic. No, it's exaggerated, it's exploded, his head becomes bigger. But I think that is a cool looking drawing, way better than it just did a super realistic drawing. So, giving you some ideas here. So this is what you're gonna have to do. You are gonna have to take some photos, okay? And I'm giving you this now, even though we're not working on this now, because it's going to take some time to get somebody that you're going to do this with and arrange a bunch of photos with them, okay? And what you're going to need to do is set up the lighting so it creates a dramatic light and shadow on them. And you're going to experiment and take a bunch of photos. Then on your phone, you're going to eliminate all the bad ones. You could take 50 of them and get rid of all the bad ones and keep the ones that are really intriguing and cool, and then bring those in so I can see them. Got that? I'm going to give you a week to do that. Today is Friday. I want to see them by next Friday. Got that? But we're not going to be in here next Friday because we're at Thanksgiving. So I'm going to see them the following week. So you have over Thanksgiving to do this. Got it? So I'm giving you time to do it because I know it's not a simple and quick